Thanks for everything. Thanks, y'all. Mighty nice to see you. Thanks for coming out. I feel like we should go around the room and introduce ourselves. That'd be good. It's funny, isn't it? It's a little funny being in a really big hall with just a few people, but it's cool. I'm really glad y'all came, and I'm glad I came too. Appreciate the hospitality. Let's see. This is right here. This is right. Cool. So y'all could have been a number of places tonight. I appreciate you choosing to spend the evening with me. He's got a meeting at 6:30, so he won't have time to stay for dinner with his darling and his daughter on the way. He's fighting down the freeway, sewing up that dotted line. There's no time like the present. There's no present like time. Oh, the little one gets presents for a little consolation. They gave her own telephone, but not much conversation. She asked them for a moment, like a beggar for a dime. There's no time like the present. There's no present like time. Student in her high school does her homework every night, sends her board to board flying with her future looking bright, hangs the tassel from the mirror of the present parked outside. There's no time like the present, no present like time. And then there's a husband and a daughter and a lot of bills to pay. Everyone needs something from her. They all need it today, but she can't be omnipresent. She's working overtime. There's no time like the present, no present like time. And then the phone rings late at the office. It's coming in on the private line. It's her husband. It's your father. Seems he finally made his deadline. So now she's furiously packing for a little time away. She's got a week's vacation, she's gonna make it pay. Her husband's turning bitter, her daughter just turned 9. There's no time like the present, no present like time. No present like time. There's no present like time. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. get my rock and roll on there for just a second. Acoustic guitar, folk boy. Go ahead and bang on that guitar. All right, so I went to the Goodwill today here in Conway, and I scored 6 shirts. I was stoked. Yeah, it was so good. Like I gotta say, I thank Conway just for that. I thank Hendrix, you know. And then I got to meet all these cool students who've been really nice. Susan was really nice to me, and oh man, everybody. Trevor and Nate and Remington especially spent a lot of time with me today and taking care of me, and it's just been lovely. Really appreciate your hospitality. Let's see, Deanna was rocking it earlier. Of course, Desh and Megan as staff people. So thanks everybody, it's been good. And then I scored these thrift stop shirts, that's my favorite place to shop. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Makes me want to play Macklemore. But instead I'm going to play this song I wrote for a friend of mine. I play this guitar in a lot of different tunings, and the cool thing about playing in different tunings is that you don't write the same song over and over again. You have to write a different song because you got to make up new chords, and that works out really well if you can remember the tuning. I think that's right. We'll try it. Let's see what happens. So I have this friend who's always picking on herself. I don't know if you have friends like that that just say really mean things about themselves that they would never say to anybody else. My friend was doing that, and I was really conflicted. I didn't know what to do about it because on the one hand I wanted to defend her against this person who was being mean to her, but it was her. So I didn't know what to do, you know? So I did what any songwriter would do. I went and wrote her a song. And then I played it for her, and she figured out right away that it was for her. And she didn't hate it, and that was good. And what's better, she pretty much stopped picking on herself. And I take full credit for that now. That's how it works. Gonna crawl inside your head, gonna move a few things around. You got your furniture up against the doors, it's bound to be slowing you down. Baby, getting in your own way, and that's a silly thing to do. Gonna crawl inside your head to make it work a little better for you. Gonna crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, 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 yeah. Crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, yeah. Gonna crawl inside your heart. I'm gonna bring a whole bunch of paint. 'Cause from the outside it's so beautiful, and from the inside it just ain't. And I know this will be hard for you, but your graffiti's gotta go. Gonna crawl inside your heart so you can see what we all know. I'm gonna crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, 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 yeah. Crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, yeah. destination, looking for a come up. This is thinking awesome. It just occurred to me I could fit that in. Gonna carve inside your soul, gonna cook you up a little meal. You've been feeding yourself this garbage, makes you feel the way you feel. You got junk in your refrigerator, that's way, way overdue. Gonna carve inside your soul and give you something that's good for you. And then when we've got the dishes washed, soak the brushes in turpentine, I was wondering if you might have a minute to help me work on mine. Gonna crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, 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 yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah. Gonna crawl inside, yeah, yeah. Thank you. That was a bit of a reach, but you gotta reach. You gotta reach. I like doing this. Thank you for letting me do this tonight. It makes me happy. I am gonna play you a cover here. It's not Macklemore, but it's a song I always wanted to cover when I was in high school, and I couldn't figure out how to do it because I was just a folk singer with an acoustic guitar. I didn't have a whole band, and it was definitely a band song. And so I had to wait like 25 years until somebody invented one of these. This little loop station thing here that's going to allow me to be the whole band. So that's kind of fun. Just a little bit like me when walking in your footsteps. Hey, walking in your footsteps. Hey, Mr. Dinosaur, you really couldn't ask for more. You were God's favorite creature, but you didn't have a future. And when walking in your footsteps, hey, walking in your footsteps. Don't you have a message for us? I thought your rule would always last. There were no lessons in your past. You walked up 3 stories high, say you would not hurt a fly. If we explode the atom bomb now, would they say that we were dumb? When walking in your footsteps, hey, walking in your footsteps. Walking in your footsteps. Walking in your footsteps. only place you'll see them, and we're walking in their footsteps. Walking in their footsteps. I know it's kind of a sad song. Walking in your footsteps, and walking in your footsteps. Thank you. Thanks. That's a Police song. I was going to write that song, but Sting wrote it first. What are you going to do? So tonight's show is at least partly sponsored, I think, sponsored by the International and Multicultural Affairs Department of Hendrix College, and I'm really grateful for that invitation. I've got that right, yes? Is that right? Dash? Yeah. I've had the incredible privilege of traveling a lot around the planet, and I've actually done shows on 5 continents at this point. And so I've had these opportunities to meet all these fascinating people around the planet and enjoy really getting out of my element. Actually, next Wednesday I fly to Guatemala, where I spend a fair amount of time. Enough time that that's started to become a very familiar place for me, and not so foreign as it used to be. And in recent years, I've been spending a lot more time working on peace issues and trying to figure out how we can do a better job of living together and valuing the incredible diversity around the world rather than being threatened and scared by that. And I think there's quite a body of knowledge and experience to learn from in that department. There's so much that we can learn by studying what people have already done, you know, what's worked and what hasn't worked. We can really study that stuff and you can learn about it. We don't have to just make it up as we go along. I got to spend this past weekend in Selma at the bridge crossing, the 50th anniversary of the 1965 bridge crossing where John Lewis had his head beat in, along with lots of other folks. John Lewis is kind of one of my heroes. I don't know how much y'all know about him, but he was, of the people standing at the podium with Martin Luther King Jr. when he gave his I Have a Dream speech, of the people who spoke that day along with him, John Lewis is the only one who's still with us. Everybody else is gone. And John Lewis stood at the base of the bridge in Selma where he was beaten by troopers marching for voting rights. 50 years to the day after he had been beaten on that bridge, he stood at the base of that bridge and introduced our first African-American president. No matter how you feel about that particular president and his policies, that's a pretty amazing thing. It was extraordinary to watch John Lewis stand there and say, you know, 50 years ago on this bridge, if you had told me that 50 years in the future I would be standing here on this same bridge introducing our first African-American president, I would have said, you are crazy. You are crazy. It made, I had goosebumps on my goosebumps, you know? It was just beautiful. It was such a powerful thing. And I think the president got it right in his speech when he said that we dishonor the sacrifices made by those people if we don't acknowledge that we have made some progress.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we've got so far to go. So far to go. And so it's good to be here with y'all tonight, who I think maybe agree with at least some of what I just said.
Yeah.
And given that it's a multicultural night, I'm gonna, that's what we're honoring. And given that I'm a white and straight and male and educated and hold a US passport and have all kinds of privilege just dripping off my body that I didn't choose.
Folk singer.
And a folk singer, no, that's pretty marginalized, actually. That's pretty marginalized. If I, you know, I ain't no Macklemore. But I do want to share a couple of thoughts like those with you tonight, and a couple stories from places I've gotten to be and people I've gotten to know. And I actually want to share this song with you. It's not even on the set list. It just came to mind just now, and it seems like the right one to play. I'm going to sing you a song in Spanish. It's called Mi Luna. It's by a Nicaraguan songwriter named Salvador Cardenal Barquero. And it's exquisite poetry in this song. I'll tell you a little bit about it after I sing the song. Cuando le canto su plata me cura como a los santos y los prisioneros, los amantes, los locos errantes y los pordioseros que amamantamos duro. Cuando no hay amigos, pan ni dinero, solo la poesía que flota en el aire sincero y en las bancas solas que hay en los parques. Esperando amores amanasqueros. Ay, mi luna llena, escucha la pena cuando un hombre canta el amor. Thank you. We'll play an instrumental song. Thank you. I'm going to play a song from my next record, actually. I've not played this song on stage many times. We'll see how it goes. Y'all doing okay? Can I bring you anything? All right? You got what you need?
Yeah.
All right, good. Again, I appreciate you being here. Song about John Henry and the drill. They raced each other digging a long tunnel in the hill. John Henry won the race that day, as no one can deny. When he laid his hammer down, he laid right down and died. Oh, Johnny, what are you dying for, oh, Johnny? What are you dying for? Well, some people say John Henry won, there ain't no cause to weep. To this day, John Henry's girl, she cries herself to sleep. John Henry, they said John Henry couldn't beat that drill. John Henry proved them wrong. The boss man got his tunnel dug and he got it for a song. Oh, Johnny, what are you dying for? Oh, Johnny. The teacher said the song's about the coming of machines. The union said the song's about the price of a boss man's greed. The preacher said John Henry got himself and got confused. It seems to me the song's about a proud man getting used. Oh, Johnny, what are you dying for, Johnny? That ain't nothing worth dying for. The big man comes and he tells you what it means to be a man. Is to let him do the thinking and to go fight in the sand. Shouts about your country and he shouts about your pride. When the shouting's over, he is not the one that died. Oh, Johnny, what are you dying for, oh, Johnny? What are you dying for, oh, Johnny? Thanks very much. Thank you very much. All right, well then I'm just going to play another song off the next one. write a song that started off in Sarajevo and ended in Guatemala City, but that's what this one does. While we're talking about a little bit of travel, different places around the world, these two experiences in my life, one in Sarajevo back in 2000, and one just a couple of years ago in Guatemala City, sort of fell into this song together. And I co-wrote this song. I don't get credit for the chorus of this song at all. I co-wrote this song with Francis of Assisi. I've always liked his songs and thought it'd be fun to co-write with him. So he wrote the chorus and I wrote the verses. This is probably the song that's closest to my heart these days. I'm going to go ahead and sing it now. Ready? Here it goes. The closest I have flown to the face of a war was into Sarajevo on a wing and a prayer. And the shells didn't fly from the hills anymore, but the people were haunted. There was fear in the air. The city was cratered with the shells and the rounds, like rain on a puddle, like the face of the moon. And they buried the bodies till they filled up the ground. In the grass on the highway, they just ran out of room. But the people have gathered in the middle of town with the songs they hold sacred of a time coming soon. From their different traditions, they are singing the sound of their future together, and they're singing in tune. And all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. The darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. I got word overseas that an old friend had died. She was bright-eyed and laughing, gone far too young, and my spirit and body felt hollow inside, and I wanted to cry out, no sound would come. So I walked through the night in a dangerous town where the gunfire can sound like the 4th of July. But by chance I looked up, and the stars shining down tore the wind from my lungs and the rain from my eyes. Because just like my friend, those stars are long gone, and that light has been shining for thousands of years. So the light that we shine, it seems to go on and on, like those rays across the cosmos to refract through my tears. And all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. All the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. Powerless tool, that the real world is heartless and that hope is for fools. But I've a watch for the sunrise, and the truth is I've found it's not light that is fragile, it's the other way round. And all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle, just one candle. All the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. Thanks very much. I'm sort of all about writing songs about rays of light in dark times and places, because I guess that's how I experience the world mostly, but I don't think hope is about denying the harsh reality of the world. It's about seeing the light that's right through that darkness. My favorite quotation about hope is from Václav Havel, who was the last president of Czechoslovakia and the first president of the Czech Republic, and he was this crazy dissident playwright and poet, this wild character. He just died a couple years ago. And he was very much on the fringe of the sort of political atmosphere there in Czechoslovakia. And then there was a revolution and he became the president. It's one of the few times I know of in the world where this crazy artist became a head of state. And so he was quite a wordsmith, and he said this about hope. He said, hope is not prognostication. It is an orientation of the spirit. It has nothing to do with the odds of success. It has nothing to do with taking the temperature of the world around you, and everything to do with where you point your life. So, love me some Václav Havel. And you know what? There are kids here tonight, and I'm talking about Václav Havel. I should be playing a kid's song.
No, that's good.
Did I do that? Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. I used to think this was the least cool song I had, and then I realized that it was the most requested song on college campuses. When I would play college campuses, and we all know that college students are the cultural arbiters of cool.
Yes.
Just shows what I know about cool. Not much. I should warn you, every line in this whole song rhymes with E. Don't do that if you're a songwriter. I mean, say woohoo. I didn't mean don't say woohoo. I meant don't write a song with all E rhymes. Because then you have to dip very low in the bag of rhymes in order to complete the song. Which is what I did. And I just felt like I should warn you before we got into it. All right, here it comes. Captain of the SS Bathtub, I roam wherever I please. Yes, I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. Come sail away with me. Yep, this is my big hit. Now I travel far in the SS Bathtub. I sail the 7 seas. Sometimes I stop at islands that look just like great big knees. And my friends come visit on the SS Bathtub. They arrive on water skis. Well, some are dolphins, some are whales, and some are manatees. And I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. I roam wherever I please. Yes, I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. Come sail away with me. Now I got 2 dogs on the SS Bathtub, a Great Dane and a Pekingese, that's right. I named one port and I named one starboard, and I'll let you name their fleas. Okay, Hendrix, here's a little academic test. Now the fish that swim under the SS Bathtub know all their ABCs. That's the right answer. Because they study hard in their school of fish, then they go and catch some seas. And I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. I roam wherever I please. Yes, I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. Come sail away with me. Pick it, Dave. That's a folk solo. That's where you just play what you were playing before, but you don't sing the perfect. Let's see. Oh yeah. Now for dinner on the SS Bathtub, we all eat mac and cheese. But I don't use salt and I don't use pepper, 'cause I don't want the whales to sneeze. And we love to play on the SS Bathtub with our blocks and our frisbees. We make up songs and we put on plays. We never watch TVs. That's because I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. I roam wherever I please. Yes, I am the captain of the SS Bathtub. Come sail away with me. Come sail away with me. All right, so one day I picked up my guitar in my living room and I didn't look at it very closely before I started playing it. And so my guitar that normally sounds so pretty, like, it's got a nice tone, right? Instead, it sounded like this. And I thought for a second I'd broken it, and then I looked down and realized there was a guitar pick stuck in the strings. And you'd think that I would have taken the guitar pick out of the strings at that point, but actually what happened was I got interested in that sound. I thought, it reminded me of this mbira that we had around the house when I was little, this little thumb piano. My folks lived in Africa for a while before I was born, and there was a lot of African stuff around the house when I was growing up. And we had this rattly old mbira that was a little bit out of tune, and it sounded very much like this. And I thought, wow, that's cool. I should write a song with the guitar pick stuck in the strings. So I did. And that was all going fine, except that, you know, the thing that guitar strings are really good at, the thing that they're made to do is to wiggle around. And so the picks kept falling out about halfway through the song. And that was back to my beautiful guitar sound, which at that point had become very disappointing to me. So I did what anybody would do in the same situation. I went in the next room and got a credit card and some scissors. This one used to be a MasterCard. And because you can bend a credit card and put a little hook in there so it won't fall out of the strings like that. So that's what I did. I wanted you to understand that I hadn't actually broken my guitar, but this is what's going on with this song. The song was kind of born when my brother-in-law was a pretty wise man. I was complaining about something that was changing in my life and I wanted it to stay the same. And he said, well, you know, if you don't like change, there's always another option. I said, really? He said, yeah, you could just die. Okay, I get the point. So change is inevitable. You can kind of choose maybe sometimes which changes, but change is inevitable. Get used to it. So I wrote a song called Keep the Change. See what I did there? Credit card, right? Right? Okay. And this is that song. I'm going to play it for you. Here it comes. Trying to go for that world music thing, because I think a lot of people in rural Africa use broken credit cards in their guitars. Maybe 20 years ago now, you were waiting tables and wiping chairs. He never looked up from his menu like you weren't even there. You just knew that he would stiff you, so put together and self-absorbed. He slapped a 50 on the ticket, and he muttered these few words. He said, there isn't much you get to keep. Here's a little tip, keep the change. So this morning you were driving, you came screaming through your head how 19 turned to 40. Like yellow turned to red, how waitress turned to mother, how love bug turned to van, how that money turned to nothing when he put it in your hand. And said there isn't much you get to keep. Here's a little tip, keep the change. Just a rich guy in the diner left a bad joke with his bill. The cash was gone by Sunday, but the words are ringing still. yard with your fingers in the ground, and the weeds keep pushing up while your own body's slowing down. Don't waste your breath on wishing, no need to raise your voice. Change is always optional if dying is a choice. And there isn't much you get to keep. Here's a little tip, keep the change. Keep the change, yeah. Keep the change. I'm gonna play this drum. Brought this drum. Actually, I borrowed this drum here, so people were kind enough to bring it over, so I'm gonna play it. And now death coming knocking on my neighbor's door, saying, come on neighbor, ain't you ready to go? And my neighbor stooped down, buckled up her shoes, and she moved on over to the road and screaming. Then she shouted, hallelujah, done all the duty, got on my traveling shoes. Yeah. And now death's coming knocking on my daddy's door, saying, come on daddy, ain't you ready to go? And my daddy stooped down, buckled up his shoes, and he moved on over to the road and screaming. Then he shouted, hallelujah, done all the duty, got on my traveling shoes. Yeah. And now death coming knocking on my mama's door, saying, come on mama, ain't you ready to go? And my mama stooped down, buckled up her shoes, and she moved on over to the road and screaming. Then she shouted, hallelujah, done all the duty, got on the traveling shoes. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a very old song. It's the oldest song I'm going to play it tonight. It's from the days of the Underground Railroad. And you all know about the Underground Railroad, of course. It was not a railroad. It was a system of people smuggling themselves and others to freedom in the north from the south. And of course I learned about that in school when I was a kid, a little bit. Right, I learned about Harry Tubman and, you know, a few things like that, but I didn't really dig in as a kid. It's what happens when you're a kid. You learn a little bit about a lot of things, right? And it took me until I was an adult to really consider the logistics behind something like the Underground Railroad. I mean, think about that. All those people, under cover of night, fleeing the law and also fleeing vigilante groups. And in order to organize it all, you couldn't really write stuff down because most of the people involved were illiterate, right? Because it was against the law to teach slaves to read and write. So how are you going to transmit all this information in secret when you can't pass notes in class, right? How do you organize a revolution without the written word? And they came up with these brilliant ways to do it. There were code quilts. They had these secret patterns. And if you saw the pattern pieced into a quilt, in those days we hung quilts in our windows, right, to keep us warm in the winter and cool in the summertime. And if you saw this particular pattern pieced into a quilt and you knew the code, you knew that this house was part of the Underground Railroad. And you could sneak up there in the middle of the night and knock on the door and get a place to eat and a place to sleep, and maybe some directions about where to go next. It's just brilliant. And there were songs, like this one, that had information in them, because people didn't seem to be paying so much attention while other people were singing songs, right? Next time somebody tells you that music is, you know, a nice fluffy thing on the side, but it doesn't really matter, it's not anything important, it's not anything we should, like, fund in schools or anything like that, I suggest you tell them about this song. Or better yet, sing it to them. And by the way, if you want to help me out with this, here's how it goes. I say shout, you say hallelujah. You don't have to be intimidated. It's not a sing-along, it's just a shout-along. It's easy. Anybody can do it. Right? I say shout, you say hallelujah. We'll practice in just a second. Now death come knocking on my brother's door, saying, come on, brother, ain't you ready to go? And my brother stooped down, buckled up his shoes, and he moved on over to the Jordan stream. And then he shouted, hallelujah, done on the duty, got on the traveling shoes, little louder gonna shout, hallelujah, done on the duty, got on the traveling shoes. My friends in Germany would say, wir sind weniger, aber wir sind mächtig, which means we are few, but we are mighty. Yeah. And now death come knocking on my preacher's door, saying, come on, preacher, ain't you ready to go? And the preacher stooped down, buckled up her shoes, and she moved on over to the Jordan stream. And then she shouted, hallelujah, done on the duty, got on the traveling shoes. Of course, we tell stories like this from historical perspective. It's natural to think, where would I have been in that story? And I'd like to look back and say, you know, see, I care about justice issues and stuff, and I would have been a part of that, right? I would have been a part of the Underground Railroad. I would have proudly stood for that and risked my life. I'm willing to risk my life for things. I've been to jail a couple of times for things I believe in, right? I've been to dangerous parts of the world for things I believe in. I've risked my life. I'd do that. And it's so easy to say that right now, isn't it? Looking back, sitting here comfortably. It's so easy to say, this is what I would have done. And my life's a little more complicated now because it's not just my life I'd be risking, but my wife's life and my 6-year-old boy. And the truth is, you know, I don't think it's honest to say, here's what I would have done. All I can say is, here's what I hope I would have done. I hope I would have had that courage. And now death come knocking on my daddy's door, saying, come on, daddy, ain't you ready to go? And the daddy stooped down, buckled up his shoes, and he moved on over to the Jordan stream. And then he shouted, hallelujah, done on the duty, got on the traveling shoes. Yeah. 'Cause see, the thing is, I look at my life now, and the truth is, I have failed to stand up for what's right and against what's wrong under so much smaller danger than that, you know? So much smaller price. So where does that leave us, you know? I mean, I guess it mostly leaves me really glad I wasn't born in that time. I mean, are we lucky to have been born into a time without injustice? This is the part where you laugh. Yeah, that's good. You can do that too. Right. Oh yeah. Because we weren't, were we? We weren't born into a time without injustice. It's for us to decide what we're willing to risk to stand for what's right and to stand against what's wrong. I don't know about you, I get it wrong every day. And then some days I also get it right. And those are my good days. I'm shooting for more days like that. And now death gonna come and knock on my front door saying, come on, David, ain't you ready to go? And I'm gonna stoop down, buckle up my shoes, gonna move on over to the road and swing. I'm gonna shout, hallelujah, done all the duty, got on my traveling shoes, that's right. I'm gonna shout, hallelujah, done all the duty, got on my traveling shoes, last time. I'm gonna shout, hallelujah, I've done all my duty, got on my traveling shoes. Thanks, y'all. I think maybe I've got time to send you home with one song. Is that all right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. I didn't actually bring a clock up here tonight. What time is it roughly?
More.
Early. Okay.
Song o'clock.
All right. So let's see. I'm gonna play this. So the thing is, I really love playing music. So I'm going to play you this song, and we're going to call it an official night. And then if anybody really wants to hang around and hear more songs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and hang out in the lobby. If anybody wants a CD or a book, I've got this new book. It came out in October. And yesterday, it got a review in Publishers Weekly. And they liked it, which is so exciting. Thanks. It's the first show I've done since I got that really excellent news. It's kind of a big deal. It's sort of like, well, it's a big deal. Very excited. So yeah, that came out in October. It's called World Changing 101, Challenging the Myth of Powerlessness.
Yes.
And I've been enjoying seeing what that book's been doing in the world. And so I'm going to be out there if anybody wants a book or a CD. If you want me to scribble in them, I'm happy to deface your personal property. And then after that, if you're still hanging around and still want to hear a song or two, we'll come back in here and just sit down and unplug everything, and I'll play you a song or two, okay? Because I like playing music. So thanks again for choosing to spend your evening this way. It's really been a pleasure to be with you. I'm going to sing you a song by a friend of mine, Chuck Brodsky. Chuck Brodsky fan? Yay! Sometimes you'll stumble, sometimes you just lie down. around. You might shiver when the wind blows, and you might get blown away. You might lose a little color, you might lose a little faith, but we are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. Thank you for the water. I thought I was gonna die out here in the desert, but you quenched my thirst. Let's bake a little bread together, got a little mama. It was a gift from someone who was passing by, offered me a lift. Now go answer your call, go and fill somebody's cup. If you see an angel falling, won't you stop and help them up? Because we are each other's angels, and we meet when it is time. We keep each other going, and we show each other signs. God bless you. It's been good to be with you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.